Good morning everyone, it's Monday the 1st of February and we're going to start with some handwriting. And our word is accommodate. A-C-C-O-M-M-O-D-A-T-E. Accommodate. And really look at those joins as well. The double C is a nice join, the double M. And have on a piece of paper and a pencil, have a go at writing our handwriting for today. Accommodate. And to accommodate for something is to cater for or to fit in with the needs of someone or something. So there's our handwriting and we're going to get straight into whole class reading. So our whole class reading is about Usain Bolt. Follow the text in your home learning pack. Biography. So how do you become the best sprinter of all time? Usain St. Leo Bolt once said, "When I was young, I didn't really think about anything other than sports." Whilst in secondary school, Usain focused on sprinting, which led him to win his first high school championships medal. Since then, he has set new world records, overcome injuries, won many medals, become a hero in his home country of Jamaica, and he hasn't even finished yet. Usain was born on the 21st of August 1986 in Jamaica, and as a child he really enjoyed playing football and cricket. Bolt took part of his first race whilst at primary school. However, at that time he preferred playing cricket. In an interview, he once said that if he hadn't become a sprinter, he would have loved to be a fast bowler like his cricketing hero Waqar Younis. At high school, Usain focused on sprinting and won his first silver medal in the 2001 high school championships. His talent caught the eye of former Jamaican Olympic sprinter Pablo McNeil, who went on to become his coach. Pablo would sometimes get frustrated with Bolt as he didn't always take his training seriously and liked playing practical jokes. In 2001, World Youth Championships was Usain's first appearance on the world stage. He didn't win any medals, but he did set a new personal best in the 200-metre race. The World Junior Championships came next, and it was here that Bolt became the youngest World Junior gold medalist. In 2004, Usain became the first junior sprinter to run 200 metres in under 20 seconds. It was then that he turned professional and he was given a place on the Jamaican Olympic team. He went to the Olympic Games in Athens in 2004, but a leg injury stopped him from winning any medals. As the years passed by, Usain took his sport more seriously and began to train harder to win events. At the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games, he broke more world records and won gold in the 100 metres, 200 metres and relay events. This was followed by the World Championships in Berlin, where he improved his times even more. Bolt competed in the 100 metres, 200 metres and relay at the London 2012 Olympic Games and won gold in all three events again. After the races, a fellow runner said, "There's no doubt he's the greatest sprinter of all time." Usain continues to be a successful sprinter, but plans to retire in 2017. He is nicknamed Lightning Bolt. So that's our text for whole class reading. Now go through the questions and have a go at answering them. Remember, keep referring back to that text for the answers. 1 mark is quickly look back, get your answer in. 2 markers, you're going to need a bit of evidence, a bit more explanation to get the marks. So cold comp today, have a go at that. Okay, because it's Monday, we have our spellings ready for your spelling test on Friday. So on the screen now should be your spellings. And for each one, you're going to write a sentence to practice. And then you can always rewrite the word a few times to practice it. So for example, one of the spellings is brilliant. So I'm going to put it in a bit of a fancy sentence. I'm not just going to do any, I'm going to do a speech sentence. So 66, that work is brilliant. Speech friend, 99. Said Mr. Power. Okay, so you're going to choose a spelling, put it in a sentence, and then you can always rewrite the same word a few times to practice the spelling of it. Okay, so now we're going to go on to our grammar for today, and we're going to be looking at direct speech and reported speech. We're going to be looking at it all week because we're going to be writing a newspaper article for Salim going missing on the London Eye. Now, there's big differences between direct speech and reported speech. Direct speech is where it's a speech model. So it'll have a 66, 99, a speech friend, like we know it. Reported speech, however, is used in newspaper articles a lot because you're imagining you're like a reporter, like a journalist. You hear different things from different people and you're reporting what that person said. So I could hear someone, oh, she told me that she was going to the park. So that's what I've heard and I'm reporting and maybe telling someone else. But first of all, direct speech. We've got some punctuation missing here. I'm really cold, shouted Ali. Now we first got to look and say, what is being said by Ali here? Well, he shouted it. I'm really cold. That's what he said. So we need to start our speech with our 66. I'm really cold. Now, before we close the speech, we need a speech friend. And we can have an exclamation mark. We can have a question mark, a full stop, or a comma to end our speech. Now, if he shouted it, which one are we going to go for? An exclamation mark. And then after that, I can close my speech. I'm really cold, shouted Ali. Now, we're not done just there. We've got one more left. It's the end of the sentence, so we need a full stop. And yes, some of you in year 6 still forget that one, so don't. It's a full stop at the end of a sentence. Now, reported speech, this is where we've got to think carefully. If you've heard Ali say this, how are you going to report on that? I'm really cold, shouted Ali. I'm really cold. Right, I've just heard that. So Ali told me that. Am I going to just repeat it? Ali told me that I'm really cold. Well, he didn't tell me that I'm cold, so we need to change that. Ali told me that he was really cold. And now it makes sense because he told me that he was cold. He didn't tell me that I was cold. So that pronoun, as we call it, has to change. In direct speech, if I'm Ali, oh, I'm really cold, I am talking about myself. If I hear someone else say it, then Ali told me that he was really cold. And that's the big difference between direct and reported speech. Obviously, reported speech doesn't have any of our speech punctuation in. It hasn't got our 66 and 99. And we have to change that pronoun because you're talking about someone else. Obviously, if that was a girl, she told me that, and we're changing it because otherwise it won't make sense. So when we're looking this week at our newspaper reports, think about that and how you're going to use each one. Maybe you speak to an eyewitness who saw someone getting off the London Eye. So you might say, an eyewitness told me that he noticed, okay, we've got that pronoun in again, okay, or they announced, a group of people, being plural. So have a think how you can interchange and swap between those two. Direct speech might be really good if you're speaking to someone live and you're interviewing them. Whereas reported speech might be if you heard the police announce something 2 days ago. Earlier today, the police said that they were still conducting their investigation. No 66, no 99, it's reported speech, okay? So now have a go at the rest of your sheet for English for today, using these examples. Speech, punctuation for direct, no punctuation, and changing that pronoun when you get to reported speech. Okay, now we're going to move on to maths. And no, we're not just naming these 3 shapes, because I know you're at home, but that would be far too easy. I'm not that kind. We're going to be looking at algebra, okay? And don't think algebra is this big, scary thing and it's only for secondary school, because it's not. It's very simple as long as you break it down and go step by step with it, which is exactly what we're going to do. So here I've got 3 shapes. And in algebra, anything can represent a number. It could be a shape, a picture, a letter, anything. So let's just give each of these shapes a number. It could be anything. So a circle, let's say that represents 5. No reason, it just does. A square, let's have another random number, 2. And the triangle, let's have that as 10. Keep it simple. I know my 2s, I know my 5s, and my 10s. I should know all my times tables, but let's keep it simple. So there we are. And now I could write a very basic equation with shapes, because now I know each shape has a number. So I could say, oh, a square plus a square plus a triangle. And believe it or not, that is a very basic version of algebra, because we've replaced and substituted a number with some different representation, in this case shapes. So let's say, well, I know a square was 2, so that equation is 2 plus 2 plus a triangle is 10, which is 14. 2 plus 2 plus 10 is 14. Simple as that. But now I could go a little bit harder, so I've just wrote this equation. So now I know, yeah, a triangle's 10, but a triangle plus something equals 15. So 10 plus something is 15. That is what it's telling me. That is what I know. Well, I know 10 away from 15 is 5, so it must be 10 plus 5 is 15. I could write the number, but I know a 5 is a circle, so it could be a triangle plus a circle, and I've substituted it in. That's another way we can use it. And by having missing gaps in an equation is that little step further in your thinking to find and to substitute the correct shape. Now this is where our algebra comes in. The letters. So instead of shapes, I'm just going to do letters now instead. So let's say an A is 2, the P is 3, D is 4, and M is 5. So don't be scared, nothing to be scared of. We had the shapes, and now we've got letters. But again, the letters just represent a number. So M plus P, what's that telling you? Okay, like that. Now, believe me, they can be that easy, especially, well, I was going to say in SATs, if they were going ahead this year, they can be that easy, representing different letters with numbers. And it's all about knowing what you're substituting in. Let's take it up a gear. Let's get our foot on the accelerator. Let's get a bit more going. Okay, now this looks like proper algebra. This is what I like. 2p plus d. Now, we've got something new that we haven't learnt yet. 2p. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what that means. Whoops. When we have 2 next to a letter, or any big number next to a letter, the operation you're using there is multiply. And that is saying 2 times p, or 2 lots of p. So that is 2 times p. Now, what is 2 lots of p? That's saying 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, plus d, which is 4. And now it's dead easy to solve. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So the next step up in algebra is this element, when you have a number with a letter. But again, don't be worried. All that means is multiply. So 3d. What is the value of 3 lots of d? 3 lots of 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Let's have 9a. Oops. 9a. What is the value of 9 lots of a, or 9 multiplied by a? Okay, so that's the next step in algebra. We've got different letters representing numbers, which is fair enough. And then is this new step, a number with a letter. Whenever you see that, it means multiply. Right, let's go through this question together, which is in your home learning pack. The total cost of the rugby ball and the panda is £6. Form an equation to represent this information. So, vocabulary. Equation. What's an equation? In maths, we're going to be talking numbers, an operation, equal sign. In this case, because it's algebra, it might not all be numbers. The total cost of the rugby ball and the panda. So, total, I know that word. The total of two numbers. The total of 5 and 3 is 8. Okay, so total, what operation are we talking about? Addition, the total. Now, we know the rugby ball, if you look at that picture, is £2. So we don't need to change that. We don't need to represent it with a letter or a picture because we know it's £2, don't we? So I can put that in my equation because it's £2. Okay. You could even put a pound sign if you want. It's representing £2. So the total cost of the rugby ball and the panda is £6. Now in your equation, I can say, well, the total is £6. So that must be the answer to my equation is £6. Are you with me? So the one bit of information we don't know is here. And because we're learning algebra, you can probably see where this is going. £2 plus something is £6. Well, yeah, we know. If you're ahead of me, you'll say, oh, sir, yeah, that's obviously £4. Yeah, I know that. But we're writing a formula, an equation, to show an algebra formula. But we don't know, like in your picture there, we don't know what the panda is. And if you look at the tag on it, it's P. P-pound, because P for panda. So I could say, my formula, I don't technically know what the panda is, because it doesn't say. So my formula would be £2 plus the P. Now, you could get rid of all the pound signs because they can confuse you, and we're left with a very simple formula. 2 plus P equals 6. And we know that is P for panda. And that's the question. It's not asking you to solve it. It doesn't say find the value of P. It just says write an equation to represent the information. So there is your equation. £2, the rugby ball, plus P, the panda, equals £6. Now we can quickly work out 2 plus something is 6, must be 4. However, for the mark there, you would get 1 mark for just writing that equation, because that is exactly what the question is asking you. Right, okay, now let's do 3 together and then you can start your learning pack. So number 1 says, I think of a number and call it X and add 2. The result is 8. Well, what a nice kind question, because it's telling us it's add. These are very nice, these ones. So I think of a number X and I add 2. Well, add 2. All right. The result is 8. Now, result is a fancy word, isn't it? We're saying the outcome is 8. The result is 8. It equals 8. I think of a number X. Well, there's one place that can go to make my equation, and it's going to go here. There we go. That is my equation to solve it. X plus 2 equals 8. Again, don't solve it. I'm not asking you, so what is 8? I'm not asking that. What's the expression? What's the equation? There it is. Number 2. I think of a number, Y, and divide it by 3. Oh, they've told us the operation again. I'm a genius. It's a divide. And they divide it by 3. Easy. I think of a number Y. I divide it by 3. The result is 8. Again, fancy word result. We know it equals 8 again. What was the number this time? What was it replaced by? A Y. Again, don't solve it. There's your mark. That's correct and that's correct. We're just writing the equation of what it represents. Again, going back to our learning before, X could be a triangle. Okay, it could be a smiley face for all we care. It could be anything. Okay, don't worry about what is representing it. The letters can be scary, but it can be shown by anything at all. Last one. I think of a number t and multiply it by 4. The result is 16. Right, I multiply it by 4. Let's get that in straight away. I know that bit. I know what multiply looks like, and I know what 4 looks like. Easy. Result is 16. Amazing. And the number is represented with a T. Is that a T? Yeah. So, again, not a cup of tea, the letter T. T multiplied by 4 equals 16. I'm an algebra genius. Right, have a go now at the rest of your maths learning pack.